Welcome to our session, diving into how strategic maneuvering in trade reshaped the game. China, during the 2025 US China trade war, faced massive tariffs from the US, expecting Beijing to buckle. Instead, China turned the tables in a big way.
I'm excited to dig into this. So they basically outsmarted the tariffs, right?
Exactly. The US expected that applying heavy tariffs on Chinese goods would pressure China into folding. But instead, China waited it out using strategic patience and leveraged its control over rare earth minerals, which are key resources
Right.
globally.
So let me get this straight. While the US was busy slapping on tariffs, China was busy redirecting exports and making sure those tariffs didn't choke its supply chains?
That's exactly it. It's like if you're playing chess and your opponent goes for an aggressive move, yet you calmly reposition your pieces. China not only rerouted exports through other countries, but also leveraged the vital rare earth elements that the US desperately needs
Yes.
for high-tech industries.
Interesting. This sounds like a textbook case of turning a disadvantage into an advantage. So, what did that mean for the US domestically?
Well, the US ended up in a spot. It had to make dramatic concessions just to secure these critical resources. Instead of crippling China, the tariffs forced America into a kind of dependence on Chinese cooperation and supply chains. It's almost ironic, don't you think?
Yep, irony indeed. The challenger became dependent on the very forces it tried to control.
Absolutely. And beyond that, while the US battled with these trade pressures, China actually emerged stronger. They accelerated technological innovation and maintained steady economic growth, proving that reacting slowly and strategically can turn a high pressure situation into a win.
Wait a minute. So you're saying the tariffs ended up not only failing but actually fueling innovation in China?
Yes, indeed. It's it's like, you know, sometimes adversity nudges you into innovation. China rewired its approach, investing in tech and global supply networks, staying one step ahead while the US had to scramble for alternatives.
Yes. I have to say though, don't you think there's a risk in overplaying such strategies? I mean, even if it worked out this time, aren't there potential pitfalls?
That's a fair point. While China's approach showcased superior strategy and adaptability, it's not without risk. There's always the chance of triggering a further global backlash or provoking counter strategies from other nations. But at the moment, their control over rare earths and supply routes really set them up
True.
nicely.
It almost makes the whole scenario sound like a high stakes game of chess, where one move can turn the entire board.
Exactly. Think of it as a chess master sacrificing a piece to gain a winning position. The US expected a straightforward win through economic pressure, but China played the long game, countering every move with precision.
I like that analogy. It forces us to question the effectiveness of blunt economic measures. I mean, tariffs are tough, but they don't always create the intended leverage.
Right, it's like trying to break a dam with a handful of pebbles. Instead of collapsing, the system just adjusts and reroutes the water. China, in this case, rerouted its exports and in turn forced the US to reconsider its position in the supply chain.
Yeah, and wasn't there a particular focus on those rare earth minerals? They seem to be the crown jewels in this trade scenario.
Absolutely. Rare earths are critical for making everything from smartphones to military hardware. By capitalizing on its control over these resources, China ensured that the US's reliance on these minerals kept it tied to Beijing's strategic moves.
Right, indeed. So, by controlling a resource so vital, China essentially held a key that unlocked the door to global supply chains.
Precisely. It's not just about economic measures, it's about steering the technological and resource balance, which redefines global power dynamics. The US, expecting a show of force, ended up on the back foot trying to secure what it desperately needed while ceding strategic ground.
And that's a substantial shift. It seems like a wake up call for the US to maybe rethink its approach to economic warfare.
It truly is. The lesson here, is that economic pressure must be met with equally adaptive and strategic responses. Relying solely on tariffs, like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut, can backfire if your opponent isn't playing by the same rules.
I get that. But doesn't this strategy also run the risk of escalating tensions even further? I mean, by pushing trade disputes to the brink, couldn't that summit create a volatile environment globally?
That's the counterpoint. Yes, while China's approach shows tactical brilliance, the overall stability of global trade still hangs by a thread. But for now, their maneuvering during the 2025 trade war has highlighted how adaptability and resource control can rewrite the rules of engagement.
True. And what does this mean for future trade disputes? Should other nations take a leaf out of China's playbook, or is this a one off scenario?
I'd say it serves as a wake up call. It's like telling everyone that in today's strategic landscape, the blunt force approach isn't enough. Countries need to build more resilient supply chains and be ready to outmaneuver tariffs with flexibility and
Right.
innovation.
It really is a layered game. The US might need to innovate its own strategies rather than relying on traditional economic pressure tactics.
Exactly. And this move by China forced the US into a situation where it had to concede just to maintain its access to critical resources, which is a significant long term drawback.
Yep, it's fascinating how a well planned economic strategy can shape global power dynamics. Do you think this will lead to a new era in economic diplomacy?
I believe so. It challenges old paradigms. Not only does it push other nations to reconsider their trade strategies, but it also redefines what power looks like on the global stage, where technological innovation and resource control can be more influential than military might alone.
Absolutely. So, if we look at it from both sides, it sounds like the US now might have to retool its approach to not just be reactive, but proactive in securing its supply chains and engaging in smarter, more flexible trade tactics.
Exactly right. They can't just, rely on heavy tariffs anymore. They need to focus on innovation, diversify their supply chains, and perhaps even engage in diplomatic strategies that preclude such over reliance on any single resource.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's pretty clear that this episode of strategic maneuvering really reshapes the narrative of trade wars. It almost feels like a modern day lesson in economic warfare, doesn't it?
Definitely. And it's a testament to how critical it is for nations to be adaptable and forward thinking. Strategic patience, the clever use of resources, and a willingness to reroute when necessary. It's a masterclass in outplaying an opponent at their own game.
Yep, totally. I appreciate the nuance here. While many might see tariffs as tools of power, this case really highlights their limitations when the opposing side is equally crafty.
Exactly. It's a balance of pressure and innovation. The broader takeaway is that economic maneuvering is as much about the setup and long term planning as it is about immediate action.
Right. It's amazing how a few strategic moves can alter the global playing field. This really changes how we think about international policies and global supply chains.
Absolutely. And looking ahead, we'll likely see more countries rethinking their strategies in light of what happened in 2025. The message is clear: adaptability in face of economic challenges isn't just optional, it's essential.
For sure. In the end, it shows that smart strategy and resource control can quite literally beat traditional power tactics. Thanks for this engaging dive into the topic.
Thanks for the chat. It's like a reminder that, in the game of global economics, being nimble and innovative is the key to lasting advantage. Until next time, stay curious and keep challenging the norms.
Absolutely. Catch you next time. And let's keep exploring these fascinating developments in global strategy.